Hey guys, good afternoon, morning, night, I don't know, whenever you're watching this. Today we're gonna learn about how to make a rocket. Once you open up SolidWorks, and I apologize, my camera is in a weird position, so it looks like I'm looking at the space, but it's literally my screen. So once you open up SolidWorks on your laptop or the Rogers computers, wherever you are, you should get to this home screen. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a part. So we're gonna click on this part right here. Um, Wait for it to load. Throughout the video, I'm just gonna talk about also some rules and how to stay within the competition's rules, having that staying within the 195 millimeter volume range and just making sure everything's printable. So I'll be mentioning that throughout the video. Okay, so first off, we have our part open. We're gonna click on the front plane and make sure we're gonna go up here, view orientation, and we can go over here to front. You should be able to hover over the different cube positions and it'll show you, oh, this is the front, this is the top. We're gonna go to front. We're clicking on front. Okay, now we're angled in a position that we want to start our part. So to start a sketch, I'm going to click on the plane that I want the sketch to be on. I want mine to be on the front plane. I would recommend the front plane. And then we're going to go up here to sketch. And once we've clicked on sketch, I'm going to make a center line just for reference. Because a little trick we'll be doing after we're done with the sketch, we're going to be actually revolving our sketch to make the actual rocket, which is really cool. But you need something for the sketch to revolve around. So we're going to make a revolve line. So I'm clicking on the origin. You should be able to hover once you click that line over there. You should be able to hover over the origin and click on it, and it'll be orange. That means you selected on the origin. And then we're going to drag and just make sure it says 90 degree and then click again to make sure the line has ended. Now I'm going to go over here and click on this line again so that you have to click twice when you do the dash line so that I don't have a bunch of lines being made and going all over the place. Okay, so number one thing to do when we're making parts, make sure you know your dimensions. So one thing I forgot to do, is to make sure that the units are correct. We're going to be in millimeter units because that's what the printer prints in. So it's just easier for the dimensions. So we're going to go down here to this corner. Mine says IPS. You're going to click on it. We're going to change this to MMGS. That's millimeters, grams, seconds. So when you're typing in, oh, I want this to be 55, it's going to be 55 millimeters versus inches. So I'm going to click on that, make sure it's changed. Okay, so doing that, I'm going to get back into sketch mode. So I'm going to click on this sketch, and then I'm going to click edit sketch. All right, back to dimensioning. So we're going to click smart dimensioning, and then click on that line we made, drag out, and then click again. Now I'm going to make this 195 millimeters because that's the max volume we're going to be building in. Max height, sorry. Okay, so now it's the correct dimension. We're going to click out of the smart dimensioning by clicking smart dimension again. And we're going to go back to our sketches. So first thing I'm going to do is you kind of think of this as the cross section of your rocket. Like you took the rocket alongside, and you just slice it down the middle. And it's kind of like the profile of the rocket, and that's what we're making in the sketch. So right now I'm going to make the bottom. So I'm going to make sure that there's an orange highlighted dot. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see that. Accidentally. Okay. we're gonna make sure that we clicked on our line, and we're gonna make sure that we have an orange highlighted dot, right? You know, that means that the lines are gonna be connected. We're gonna click on it, drag, and then click again. Now we want everything to be dimensioned. So once again, we're gonna click on this line so that it's out of line drawing mode. And we're gonna click Smart Dimension up here and dimension this line. Make sure that I'm just gonna put 20. Now, like most of these dimensions you can play around with and make sure, you know, you're doing whatever you want with the rocket. One thing to keep in mind though is with this distance, you're going to be eventually making a hole for the motor to fit in, and the motor's diameter is about 18 millimeters. So you want to make sure that, you know, half of like the radius is 9 millimeters. So you want to make sure that this bottom is almost at least double the size of 9 millimeters. So you want at least 18 millimeters for this length right here. And also the bigger, you know, base of the rocket, the easier it is to print. But you're going to want to have as light a mass as possible for your rocket so it goes farther. So it's up to you. You're the design connoisseur. Okay, so we got this line and its dimension. So we're going to click out of Smart Dimension. And we're going to make another line. So we're going to click on line. Make sure we hover over the other line's endpoint. So it's orange. Click once. And then we're going to drag up and then click again. And then we're going to hit line to get out of the line drawing mode and Smart Dimension this line again. All right, so I'm going to make this 60. But you know what? It's up to you. Whatever lengths you want to do with, you do you. Okay. I realized as I was doing this that this dimension is not 195 like I wanted to. So I'm going to double click on this dimension and we're going to do 195 to make sure that it is proportional. Okay, now I'm going to go back to drawing the rocket. So I'm going to make sure. Oh. So whenever your rocket's out of view in SolidWorks, you can change, like, make sure that you can see the whole rocket by clicking this button and it'll zoom to fit. So I accidentally changed the orientation, so I'm going to go back to view orientation and make sure I'm in the front view. So you can do front like this. Okay, so back to drawing. We're going to click another line. Yay, we love lines. And we are going to just draw an angled line. Whenever you're drawing angles, you're going to want to have gradual, you know, gradual movements in and out just so that's easier to print. So I'm going to click line again to get that line away so I can Smart Dimension. Okay, so I want to make sure that this length is 25. Once again, it's up to you. It's your piece of art. Whatever length you want, you do. Okay, I'm going to click out Smart Dimension again and get on to drawing more lines. I'm going to make sure that that orange little dots there, make sure that, you know, the lines are being connected. And I'm going to draw another line and click to get out of the line drawing and click Smart Dimension and dimension that line again. Okay, we have 15. I'm just picking random dimensions because it's fun. All right. I'm also going to direct this to be a certain angle because why not? So I'm going to click on this line and then I'm going to click on this other line. And when you click two lines in the Smart Dimensioning mode, it'll turn into an angle. So I'm going to change this angle to 160. All right. Gonna click out of Smart Dimension mode. And I'm going to do another angled line. Now this I'm going to do specifically for example of for whenever you're 3D printing. Okay, so I clicked, made sure there was an orange highlighted part, clicked again. I'm clicking on align mode. Okay, so one thing to notice, whenever you're doing angles, you can visualize this as the like rocket. This is the bottom of the rocket, this is the top, and it's, you know, like it was cut down the middle and then quartered again. You want to make sure that all your angles are gradual because the 3D printer prints layer by layer. And if you have really drastic angles, like let's say instead of like my angle is right now, it's like this, and the 3D printer has to pretty much print over air to get that angle, and it just turns into a big mess. So what I want to do for this angle is I'm going to click on this line and then click on the line besides it so I can change the angles. I'm going to change this to 185. So if you look over here, the angle between this line and just a straight up and down line, it's actually really small. So the general rule of thumb for this angle from like a straight down line to this line is you want it to be less than 45, because any more than that, you're really risking the print failing for your rocket. All right, let's get back to creating. We're gonna let's put a curve in there. Why not? Let's make it curvy. So I'm gonna click on the curve and I'm gonna click on the little down arrow and we're gonna do 3-point arc. I'm gonna click right here, make sure the orange dot is at the end, you know, the very tip of the rocket. And then the other is gonna be at this other line's endpoint. And then I'm gonna make it like this. Why not? You click again to finish the curve. Now I'm gonna click on, you know, exit point arc, and I have my drawing of the quartered cross section of the rocket. So now what do? We got our sketch, and yours could look totally different. You could have, I don't know, just a straight up and down. You could make a dang cube if you wanted to, like just a square and then put a hole in it and shoot up into space. You do you. Let's exit out of sketch. Now is the fun part. We're gonna go to features. Gonna click on sketch and we're gonna do revolve base sketch or revolve boss base. And we're gonna put yes to this message. It's just saying, hey, do you want to treat that dashed line as, you know, part of the sketch? And yes, we do. All right. And it should look like this. If you do end up having trouble with this feature, come to questions next Thursday and I'll be able to answer them. Okay, so this is my rocket. A little crazy looking rocket, but we're gonna click the green check mark. Yes, we want this revolved like that. So one thing to note, like I was saying, you want to make sure the base of your rocket is the bigger the base, the easier it is to print because there's more to build off of. And with 3D printing, it builds layer by layer up here. So you see how this angle right here is not drastic. It's easier for the printer to print layer by layer and print out. If it's too drastic, then the 3D printer has nothing to build the top layer off of. It's practically building off of air. And I've just like Google videos of that and it'll show you kind of like visually if you're struggling, because I'm a very visual person as well. All right, we're gonna make some fins and then we're almost done. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure my orientation's good. I'm gonna go down to here and I'm gonna change it to front again because I had moved it around. Okay, so with the fins, you can put fins wherever you want. Just realize, like I was saying, you want no drastic angles. So if you're gonna make a fin way up here, it's gonna slowly have to build out and then go back in or whatever. You do you. No drastic, you know, I'm just gonna draw a fin right here and then go straight up, you know. It can't just go straight out. The printer won't be able to do that. All right. So what I would recommend is putting your fins down here because there's more area for the printer, the base, which means it's going to be a more stable print. And it's just easy to print and it looks cool. So why not? All right. So we're going to go to sketch up here and we're going to go sketch. Press sketch again. Oh, I forgot to select my plane. Rookie mistake. Okay. I'm gonna select the front plane. We're gonna go to sketch. Okay. Now we're gonna draw our good old friend Line, Mr. Line, and we're gonna go to this very corner of the rocket. And you see that orange dot? It's our friend. We're gonna click on that. We're gonna drag out. Click again. Now this time, instead of clicking, line to get out of line mode, we're just gonna draw another. Keep going, just drag, and then click when you see this orange dot. That means that the sketch is touching, the actual object, because you don't want just the fins floating in air, because you won't be able to print them. Like it won't be attached to the rocket when you're printing. All right, now we're gonna go down here, keep dragging, and make sure that orange dot appears again. Okay, so now we have our first fin. We're gonna click line right there, get on line mode and smart dimension. We're gonna click on this bottom line. I'm gonna say I want my fin to be 20 millimeters, but again, you do you on your fin. If you want it to be not just triangle shape, you want it to be a curve or something crazy, you do you. This is supposed to be fun. Anyways, we're gonna click out of smart dimension mode. There you go. We have our first fin. Now we're gonna do another fin. I'm gonna have 4 fins on mine. If you want more on yours, you do you. I'm gonna click that corner where that orange dot is. Gonna drag up the line. Click on that orange dot again. We're gonna make sure that when we're drawing our line, you see that dashed line that lines up with the other line I drew. We're gonna make sure that appears so that we know everything's lined up. Should show up once you dragged low enough for it. Click and then drag, click. All right, get out of line mode, smart dimension. We're gonna click on that line we want to dimension, and I want to make sure everything's symmetrical. So I'm gonna put 20 as my dimension. All right, click out of smart dimension, exit. Now, these fins are just sketches. How do we make it physically like, an actual 3D object? We're going to click on the sketch. We want to emboss face, which means like make it 3D. Click on that sketch. Features, extrude boss base. Okay, so you can't see it, but you see this yellow? It's showing, what it's going to look like when you're 3D. Well, I want to make sure that the fins are centered with the rocket. So I'm gonna, instead of being blind, I'm gonna click right here, click line and do mid plane. So it's in the center. And I don't want my fins that thick. If you want them that thick, you do you. I'm gonna do 2 millimeters, because why not? I don't know. There's probably science behind it. You can always study if you're trying to win, but if you want just cool design, you do you. All right, green check mark, click on that. We got our first set of fins done. Now let's get the last set. Okay, so I'm gonna change my orientation by clicking up here, and I'm gonna do it to the right. I'm gonna click right orientation. All right, so you should be able to see the next, side of your rocket. We're gonna click on the right plane right here. Click on the right plane, do sketch again. And we're gonna do the same thing we did last time. We're gonna click on that line, find that corner, that orange dot, drag, make sure it's like 180 degrees, drag again, and make sure that orange dot appears, click, drag, and click. All right, now we're gonna get out of line mode, smart dimension. And I'm gonna click on this line, and like last time, I'm gonna do 20 millimeters, because why not? Get out of that smart dimensioning mode, on the line, find that corner, that orange dot, click on it, then drag it up the line up. Find that orange dot. I'm struggling. Okay, found it, click on it. And then I'm gonna drag it down until I see that dotted line so I know everything's lined up. Click, drag, and click again so that there's an orange dot. All right, we're gonna get on line mode, click smart dimension, and click on that line. And we're gonna make sure everything's symmetrical because that's awesome. Get out of that dimensioning mode again. All right, we got our sketch done. Let's make it 3D. So I'm gonna do exit sketch. All right, make sure my sketch is clicked. You can click it again if you want to. So we're gonna go to features, extrude boss base, and instead of line, we're gonna make it midplane. And it's already at 2 millimeters. So we're gonna hit that green check mark. All right. You see, the rocket is pretty much finished for now. I kind of like to make sure edges are smooth so you're not poking yourself or anything when you're touching the rocket. So I usually do is this cool thing called fillet, and it pretty much smooths out corners. It makes it more just gradual. So to do that, this is just like a fun little feature. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Again, you're the designer, you do you. So I'm in the features menu. I'm gonna click on fillet. And then let's say if I don't want, I'm gonna zoom up real quick. Say I don't like how that's like a drastic corner with my fin. I'm gonna hover over the fin corner till it's highlighted. I'm gonna click on that. And then it's gonna make it so that everything's filleted. What I mean by that is I'm gonna check the green one. It'll smooth all the, corners out on one side. And then you can do the other side as well. But that's not exactly what I want. So let's say I don't want this feature. This is with anything. You can go up to this little, they call it like a tree, like a feature tree. Right click on fillet and then press delete because I don't like it. I'm gonna get rid of it. All right, we're gonna go back to fillet, and I just want this line. All right, so I clicked on the hovered line, and it's highlighted. Let's say I don't want such a drastic, I want it to be a little bit drastic change, just like a slight gradual fix to it. So instead of 10 millimeters, a smaller number means it's gonna be like a quick little fix on the extreme corner. It won't be like an entire smooth surface. It'll just be like the corner's a little bit less crazy. All right, so I'm gonna say 1, and I'm gonna click the check mark. All right, you can barely tell, but the corner now is like a smoother. It's not so drastic. Sorry, my finger. See, it's not as drastic of a corner. It's hard to tell until you have it physically in your hand. But so what you can do is you can go out to each little fin. I'm gonna go to fillet again. I'm gonna click on that little corner so it's highlighted. And I'm gonna click check mark. And then I'm gonna keep doing it until I don't want to anymore. So fill it, and then click the edge that I want to fix. Now, usually what you can do with didn't mean to click on that. With fillets is you can click multiple corners, but since this is a circular object or a cylindrical, it doesn't really like it when you select multiple corners. You kind of have to do, what I'm doing now. Fillet, click on that corner, green check mark, move on to the next edge I want to fillet. All right. So you get the picture. If you want to fillet, go ahead and fillet. Makes it less drastic corners. Anyways, by the end of this video, you should have just like a general rocket. Next video, we're gonna work on making a little compartment for the motor and the parachute and making it so that the nose comes off as well. So it's actually two parts. But that's next video. But anyways, come with questions at the next meeting, not game night, the meeting after that. And if you go through this video no problems, then you do you. You have a Thursday night to yourself. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Hope it wasn't too painful. See you at the meeting.